My name is Beilei. To be honest, I have never been a modest advocate since I was a child. Other people's children are learning piano paintings. I run around and want to make friends with it whenever I catch a little beast. My father often said that I was a wild girl, but who could have thought that this wild personality really made me feel like a big shot? That year, I was 16, and I just broke through to the 3rd level of the Royal Bamboo Disciple, and I could barely talk to some low-level spirits. Don't look at how bad this skill sounds, but in this small and broken place, we are already considered a genius. After all, in this way, talent is 100 times more important than hard work. I have a little secret: I can understand the heart sounds of spirits, and even communicate with them. I haven't told anyone about this, even my father can't do it. What should I do if I was caught as a monster and studied? That day, as usual, I walked around the back mountain, thinking about whether I could beat a small beast to train. As a result, my feet slipped down and rolled down a small slope, making me muddy. Just as I was about to get up and write 2 sentences, I found that there was a broken stone on my hand, with some messy lines engraved on it, looking like a map. My heart skipped a beat. This thing is not simple at first glance. Hey, little guy, what is this? I patted the little rabbit gnawing on the grass next to me and asked silently. Its ears trembled and replied to me in a slight manner, I don't know, it's probably an antique that has the smell of old things. I rolled my eyes and said, there are so many things that I don't know. But it is said to be right, the stone map emits a strange atmosphere, as if it comes from some ancient place. I felt a stir in my heart, and the fragments of the earthly world appeared in my brain. It was a place where there were hidden everywhere. I heard that there were countless spiritual stone resources and ancient caves, and even the top cultivators had red eyes. Unfortunately, the fragmented map is basically a saying in the text, and no one has seen it. It's hard to, this is that. My heart beat like a drumbeat, and I hurriedly stuffed the stone into it and decided to go home and study it carefully. At night, I lay on the oil lamp in my small dilapidated house and looked at the stone map again and again. The more I look at it, the more I feel disagreeable. The line above clearly points to a fragment of the Death Immortal realm. Moreover, there was a line of small words engraved on the edge of the map, only the brave ones can win the secrets of the cave. I was so excited that I almost slapped the table. Wasn't this explicitly asking me to explore? Beilei, what are you urging again? A familiar sound suddenly came from the door. I looked up and saw that it was Kairue's guy. He is a tiny person who is very good at brain function, and he can especially crack the methods of sex, but the tiny person is a little small, and I usually like to argue with me the most. What's the matter with you? Let's talk about it later. I glared at him without any worries and opened the door. As soon as he came in, he looked at the broken stone on my desk, his eyes lit up. Beilei, where did you get it? Isn't this a map fragment of the Death Immortal realm? Kairue was so surprised that his chin was about to fall, and he reached out to touch it. Don't move. I slapped his hand, I'm holding it, maybe it's a big machine. If you know how to use it, please see if there are any mysterious machines on it. Kairue curled his lips, but he still came to study it seriously. He pointed to a few strange runes on the map and said, this is the mark of the ancient ban, and it is probably the road to a certain cave. However, this place is definitely not simple, and there may be danger. What are you afraid of danger? How do you know if you don't try it? I slapped the table, and my brain began to fantasize about finding the cave, digging a pile of spirit stones, and then turning into a big boss. Kairue shook his head helplessly. Okay, you are not afraid of being like this. But I have to go with you, otherwise you will be so reckless and must kill yourself. Trade. I grinned and felt happy. With Kairue, I will at least have more confidence in this adventure. The next morning, we packed up our things and sneaked out of the village. The place marked on the map is not far away from us, but we have to walk through a place called Black Wind. It would be evil to hear the ground, and it was said that there were often low-level spirits, and occasionally they could hit some short-eyed casual cultivators and other disasters. I'm not afraid. After all, I can communicate with the spirit beast. If I really fight, I might be able to attract a few younger brothers to help. As expected, it was not long before the black winds entered, and I heard that there was nowhere to be static. As soon as I winked, Kairue felt sorry for him, and the man hid behind a large stone to peek. I saw 3 guys in front of me, surrounded by an injured green wolf. The wolf looked quite impatient, covered in blood, but there was still a ruthless slap in his eyes, screaming and dissatisfied. Hey, this beast is quite stubborn. Brothers, let's add more tricks. If it's worn, it can sell a lot of spirits. The casual cultivator in the head had a dirty face, and the knife in his hand was almost sharpened. I felt a little nervous, although this green wolf is a low-level spirit, but it is very strong and most people are not convinced. But I am different, I can hear its heart. Sure enough, the next second, the wolf's heart spread into my brain. How ugly, these scumbags. I'm going to tear them. Don't worry, brother, I'll help you. I replied in my heart, then turned to Kairue's voice, we'll take action, I have a way to deal with this wolf. Are you crazy? That's a green wolf, it's not vague to bite people. Kairue didn't believe it. Stop talking, follow me. I pulled out from behind the stone, holding a dagger in my hand, and shouting in my mouth, hey, how many of you, what's the ability to bully a wolf? There are some tricks for me. The 3 casual cultivators were stunned, and the guy in the head sneered, where are you looking for death, are you? Brothers, let's clean up together. I feel happy in my heart, just waiting for you to say this. I avoided their attacks and secretly communicated with the green wind wolf, hey, brother, what's the matter with us? I'll help you fuck them, and you'll get along with me in the future. The wolf was stunned for a moment, but quickly responded, okay, as long as I can take revenge, I will hear you. The next scene was abrupt. I turned over and avoided a knife fight. The green wolf rushed forward and bit the arm of the leader of the cultivator, making him scream. The other 2 casual cultivators were not right when they saw it and wanted to run away, but they were kicked over by Kairue and I. Although Kairue's thigh is small, he is not vague in his actions and directly tied up the person with a sieve. Say, are there any other classmates? I squatted down and shook the face of the cultivator with a dagger. No. No. Auntie, we just want to get cheaper. He was so scared that his face turned pale. Pull it, let me see you bully the spirit next time, and your legs will be cut off. I kicked him open and turned to look at the green wind wolf. Its wounds were still bleeding, but there was a little more trust in its eyes. Thank you, brother. I grinned and took out some herbs and applied it. It growled, and it recognized me as my new owner. Kairue was stunned by the side, Beilei, when can you fight like this? Also, how can this wolf hear you? Hehe, do you understand the talent? I patted my chest proudly, and the first pleasure in my heart was considered to be in place. If you can conquer a green wolf, your strength will be doubled directly, and this wave will be nothing. However, after solving this problem, a cold smile suddenly came from far away, Yi, little girl is quite capable. Tang Long, like this green wolf, you can hand it over. I looked up and saw a guy in black robe standing far away, smiling with his face, staring at me like a poisonous snake. There were a few younger brothers following him, but he was obviously not a good person. Tang Long. I narrowed my eyes. I heard this name. It was a famous tough character nearby. He specialized in robbing other people's resources and caused a lot of trouble. It's me. Hand over the wolf, and hand over the broken stone in your hand, otherwise, hehe. Tang Long sneered, his power flashed, and his air shook. I felt a little nervous. This guy is not very capable, and he is probably several levels higher than me. Do you want me to lower my head? No door. Want to slap? Come and try. I gritted my teeth and stood up, pressed my hand on the back of the green wind wolf, ready to fight to the death at any time. Kairue also tightly clenched his fists. Although his face was a little white, he still stood beside me and did not retreat. Tang Long grinned and raised his hand to prepare for the move. My heart beat faster and my brain was flying quickly. I was afraid that this scene would be hard. I stood on the mountain road with black wind, my face was a little numb and my palms were covered in sweat. The guy in front of me, Tang Long, smiled like a poisonous snake, and his eyes were locked at me and the green wind wolf. Although Kairue stood straight, I saw his hands trembling. This boy is hard-mouthed and actually afraid. Beilei, why don't we run away? Kairue muttered in my ears, the sound was like a mosquito humming. Running a fart. I gritted my teeth and glared at him. What should I do if I run away with this wolf? There is also this map. If I hand it over, why am I still messing around if I hand it over? If I don't have him today, I will write my name instead. Kairue rolled his eyes and said nothing more. I was not sure about it either. Tang Long, a guy like me, was a mid-stage practitioner, and he was several times higher than the side dish I just entered. He was carrying 3 little brothers. Although it seemed that he was not bad, there were many people. When he really fought, Kairue and Kingfenglang were also good. I'll ask you again, little girl, wolf and stone head, will you get along? Tang Long's voice was cold, and he raised his hand and slapped his soul, which made my chest swell. This guy is showing off his muscles, and Shi Ming wants to scare me. I bit my teeth tightly and quickly communicated with the green wind wolf, brother, can we do him? Are you sure? The green-staying wolf growled, and the wound was still bleeding, but there was a ruthless slap in his heart, fuck. There is a bloody smell on this scum and killed many spirits. I am irreconcilable with him. But I was too scared and I could take a moment of slap. Half a minute, it's over. I felt a slight feeling in my heart, and I looked scared on the surface, and lowered my head tremblingly. Brother Tang, I'll hand it over, can't I hand it over? Tang Long sneered and looked proud, isn't this kind of fun over before? Tie the wolf and take out the stone head, hurry up. I lowered my head and slowly took out the broken stone map from it, pretending to pass it over. Tang Long's eyes lit up and he reached out to grab it. I sneered in my heart, it's now. Go! I roared suddenly, and the map in my hand hit him directly, while hiding from his side. The green-staying wolf was ready, so he whispered up and went straight to Tang Long's neck to bite. The speed was as fast as the Dao flash, and even Tang Long had no reaction. Looking for death. Tang Long roared angrily, and his spirit exploded, shaking the blue wind wolf. But his face was still made by the map, and his face was green. Kairue, hold those little brothers. I shouted, picked up the dagger and rushed on it. While Tang Long's attention was on Kingfenglang, he stabbed him straight in the waist with a knife. I didn't hold back this knife and tried my best. After all, this guy was too strong. I had to explain this to the green wind wolf if I had any slight surprise. Tang Long didn't react slowly, and he twisted his body to avoid the vital points, but I still made a bloody hole in his shoulder. He grinned in pain, his eyes even more fierce. What a little girl, huh? I want to see how long you can hold it. With a sweep of his hand, a blade transformed from spirit penetrated my face. My heart was tight and I was busy rolling around. The wind blade wiped my skin and flew over. A small tree behind it was cut directly, and the mouth was smooth as if it was cut into a knife. My back was covered in cold sweat. If I were hit by it, I would have lost my life. On the other side, Kairue was fighting with the 3 little brothers. Although his cultivation was not good, his brain was so bright that he could hold back the other party with his few small magic talismans. He threw the talisman and shouted, Beilei, hurry up. I can't hold it anymore. Close your mouth, right now. I gritted my teeth and replied, and my brain flew quickly. It is definitely not possible to fight hard. Tang Long is too strong. Neither Kingfenglang nor I nor the other side are the opponents. We have to find a way to take it off, otherwise we will all be done if we drag on it. At this time, the green-winged wolf rushed up again and bit Tang Long's calf. Although he was kicked open by him quickly, he still fought for me. I glanced at a small hill beside me, with a shrub below, and the terrain was quite complex. Blue-winged wolf, run to that side and lead him out. I shouted in my heart, and shouted loudly at Kairue, retreat, don't fight. The green wolf was pleased, and with a whistle, he rang down the hillside. Tang Long was indeed attracted and chased after him. I took the opportunity to pull Kairue and hid behind a pile of sluts next to me. The three little brothers ran away when they saw the boss run away, and they didn't have the time to chat with us, and shouted and followed Tang Long. Who? I leaned against the stone and gasped, covered in sweat, and I was really trying to kill those few times. Kairue was not much better, his face was as white as paper, and he was still holding an unused talisman in his hand. Beilei, you are so good, you almost took my life. He complained with urgency. Stop talking, just be fine without death. I rolled my eyes, and my heart was a little bit stupid. Tang Long is so strong that he is pure, and it is purely good to be able to take off his body this time. I'll probably not be so simple if I meet again next time. But, what happened to the green-winged wolf? I closed my eyes and tried to contact it with my heart. Fortunately, after a few seconds, its heart sounded, I'm fine, I'm leaving that scum, and waiting for you under the hillside. I relaxed my mouth and patted Kairue on the shoulder, let's go, let's pick it up. This wolf is our first little brother, so I can't let it go. Kairue clicked the head, and the man carefully walked past the battlefield and came to the bottom of the hillside. The green-winged wolf was indeed waiting there. Although he had more injuries, his energy was still good. When he saw me, it growled and rubbed my palm, which was considered to be my master. Hey, brother, you're doing a pretty job. I grinned, and the first pleasure in my heart came again. I can save my life from Tang Long and save the green-winged wolf. I will give myself a lot of points in this wave of operation. However, after only 2 seconds of high spirits, Kairue suddenly slapped his brain. It's bad, Beibing, what's the matter with that map? Just when you hit Tang Long, the stone fell to the ground. My heart sank, and when I touched it tightly, it was indeed empty. That map is the lifeblood of my adventure. Without it, how can I find fragments of the Death Immortal world? Not to mention the cave and treasure behind it. No, I must get it back. I gritted my teeth and turned to look in the direction where Tang Long and the others left. Although I know this is seeking death, I don't have to choose. If the map fell into Tang Long's hand, there would be no place behind me crying. Beilei, are you crazy? You just escaped and went back. Kairue looked in disbelief. Stop talking, if you don't go, I'll go by myself. I glared at him, turned around and prepared to leave. Kairue spoke helplessly, okay, I'm unlucky. Who would let me know you so crazy? But I'll say that, I'll take something and run away, and I won't be forced to come. Don't worry, I'm not working yet. I grinned, carrying the green wolf, and the wolf sneaked back secretly. When we arrived at the place where we had just fought, we saw Tang Long and his little brother searching for something in a pile of corals. Tang Long was holding the stone map in his hand, full of joy, and muttering, slaying the fragments of the earthly world, hee, I'm losing money this time. That little girl is really a little bit of it, but unfortunately she's not lucky, she meets me. I felt a big furious in my heart. This guy really didn't want to face him. He even said something was swaying from my stuff. But it is definitely not possible to slap at the moment, I have to think of a way. Blue-winged wolf, can you approach quietly and scare them all at once? I asked in my heart. No problem, leave it to me. The green wolf growled, lowered his body, and quietly diamonded the grass beside him without any noise, slowly approaching Tang Long and the others. Kairue and I hid in the dark, waiting for the opportunity. After a while, the green wolf suddenly roared from the grassland, and directly roared at a little brother beside Tang Long. The little brother sat on the ground in surprise and crawled backwards. Tang Long was stunned, and Lima responded, and his spirit flashed in his hand and prepared to counterattack. It's right now. I shouted lowly, and Kairue winked. He was in a divine sense and took out a burst talisman and threw it directly over. With a bang, the talisman exploded under Tang Long's foot. Although he did not hurt him, he snatched up a lot of soil and completely blocked their eyes. I took advantage of the trouble, and the green wind wolf cooperated so hard that he was so stupid that he roared and forced Tang Long to take a few steps back. I quickly looked and handed, and I pulled up the map, turned around and ran away. Kairue, retreat! I shouted, and rushed down the hillside without looking back. Kairue and Qingfenglang followed me tightly, and Tang Long shouted in a hurry, "Don't run. Little girl, I remember you." I felt a little relieved in my heart and ran faster. Although this wave of operation is risky, the moment you get the map back, the pleasure is directly full of. This is the second pleasure point, and who shouldn't try to get rid of something from my Beilei's hand? After running for about half a while, I decided that Tang Long and the others had not caught up, so I stopped to take a breath. Kairue was so tired that he sat on the ground and hummed, "Beilei, you really can lose your life. I lost my life several times today. Hee, it's okay. If your life is lost, I will bring you back." I smiled and patted his shoulder, then lowered my head and looked at the map in my hand, and my heart fell a lot. The green wolf also came over and growled, with a keen voice, with loyalty in his eyes. I touched its brain and said, "Brother, I'm going to give you too much today. When the injury is gone, I'll take you to have a good meal and drink." "Beilei, what should I do next?" "That guy Tang Long will definitely not be good at being calm, we have to be careful." Kairue wiped his sweat, his expression was a bit solemn. "What are you afraid of?" "The soldiers will be blown away, and the water will be covered by the soil." I shook my hair and said indifferently, "The map is in hand, let's continue to look for fragments of the earthly world. I must figure out the secret of the cave. If Tang Long dares to come and get into trouble, I will not be so simple to pull back to the map next time." Kairue shook his head helplessly, but there was also a little more fighting spirit in his eyes. The green wolf growled, as if he was talking to me. As the sky became darker, the dark wind became even colder. I held the map in my hand tightly, and a fire ignited in my heart. The fragments of the earthly fairy world, the ancient cave, and the spiritual stone resources mentioned in the past. I want all these things. Tang Long, you'd better not mess with me again, otherwise, I'll make you regret knowing me. The three of us packed up and continued to move towards the map mark. The mountain man far away was filled with a mysterious breath, as if there were countless secrets waiting for me. The next road will definitely not be relaxed, but I feel very excited. The adventure just started. I held the map of the broken stone, and my heart felt like a fire was falling in my heart, so excited. Although the Black Wind War was so dangerous, it at least saved the map and conquered the little brother Qingfenglang, and it was considered a bloody reward. Kairue next to him was still gasping for breath, and his face was filled with the expression, "I will never play with you so crazy again." The green wolf was licking the wound, and his eyes were full of loyalty. I patted it on his brain and grinned, "Brother, don't worry, I won't treat you. When I get to the place, I'll find some good things to replenish your body. Beilei, can we find a place to rest first? This day is like a life-threatening day, and my legs are almost broken." Kairue muttered effortlessly, sitting on a stone and rubbing his calf. "Okay, worry, let's take a break and leave." I rolled my eyes, looked around, and found a small hill with its winds on its back, and set up a bonfire. The night became increasingly heavy, and the black wind shaved like a knife, making people's face numb. I took out the map and studied it again with the fire. The place where the line points to is no longer far away. I guess I can reach the edge of the fragments of the Earth Immortal realm in another day. However, I still can't understand some runes on the map, and I always feel that I don't know what to do. Kairue, do you see if there is any mysterious mechanism here? I passed the map over, and he took it and looked at it for a long time, shaking it, It's okay for these runes to be an ancient ban, but I have to take time to crack what the specific meaning is. Also, this map, at first glance, it seems like a piece is missing, and it feels incomplete. A piece is missing. My heart skipped a beat and I looked carefully. Sure enough, there was a place on the edge of the map that seemed to have been torn off. I was always a little unhappy. What I had worked hard to get back was actually a bad product. But when I think about it, no matter whether it is missing, I will find the place first and then say it, and maybe there are traces in the cave. After resting, Kairue was in good spirits and the three of us were on the road again. Although the wounds of the green wolf are not very complete, it is still very easy to walk due to its tough body. I walked and chatted with it, asking what was going on nearby. This guy has a very spiritual nose and reminds me from time to time that there is no low-level spirit output, which has saved me a lot of trouble. When it was almost dawn, a strange terrain finally appeared in front of me. The valley far away is covered by a faint fog, and the air is so full that it makes people feel comfortable when they suck. When I felt like I was moved, this place was probably the edge of the fragments of the earthly fairy world. The end point of marking on the map is deep in this valley. Here. I clapped my hands excitedly and turned to Kairue. How do you feel? The spirit here is so heavy, maybe there is a big shot. Kairue was not as happy as me, and he looked around his eyebrows and said, the spirit is heavy, but this mist is a bit evil, like a natural method. I suggest not to rush in first, so that I can try to crack something. Okay, hurry up, don't beat me up. I pointed my head. Although I was not good at heart, I also knew that this place was not simple and reckless. Kairue took out a few talismans from his bag, muttered words in his mouth, and began to try it around the fog. I was guarding the green wolf by my side, and I could react in the first time whenever I had any static. After about a stick of incense, Kairue returned in sweat. His face was not very good. Beilei, this mist is indeed a natural method, and there are many restrictions hidden in it. I can only force myself to break a path. After entering, you have to be careful not to touch anything, otherwise you may touch the generator at any time. It's enough, just have a way. I patted him on the shoulder and was so excited. Go in and take a look. Kairue led the way, and I followed the green wind wolf tightly, slowly stepping into the mist. As soon as I entered, I felt a slight sensation coming, as if I had entered an ice cellar. The fog can be seen very low, and I can hardly see the previous few steps. My heart was tightened, and my hand was pressed on the dagger, ready to face the sudden situation at any time. Not long after leaving, the green wolf suddenly growled and his ears began to swell, as if he had discovered something. I asked in my heart, what's wrong, brother? There is a silence in front, as if something is moving, and the taste is very strange. The green wind wolf felt uneasy in his heart. Strange smell. What's the thing? I waved my eyebrows and signaled Kairue to stop. Before he could reply, the smoke in front suddenly swelled, and then a huge shadow appeared slowly. It was a spider-like spirit, half a person tall, with barbs on her 8 legs, and green mucus dripping from her mouth, which made her skin numb. Bone, poisonous spider. This is a 3rd-level spirit beast, so toxic that it can be directly numb. Kairue's face turned pale in surprise, and he hurriedly took a few steps back. 3 levels. 1 level higher than the green wind wolf. My heart sank. The green wind wolf is now injuring, so I'm estimating. But you can't run, because the terrain here is not familiar, so running a wrong road may be even more dangerous. I can't run away, do it. I gritted my teeth and said to the green wind wolf, brother, let's cooperate. You can control it, and I'll find a chance to start. The green styling wolf roared. Although the injury was not good, it still snatched up and went straight to the fog spider's legs and bit it. I took advantage of the opportunity to roam to the side, held it tightly with a short dagger in my hand, and prepared to find its weakness. Kairue was not idle either, throwing out a burst talisman, and it exploded on the fog poisonous spider with a bang. Although it did not cause any harm, it at least distracted its attention. The poisonous spider made a sharp scream, his legs were shaking, and a green poisonous spider sprayed out of his mouth. I quickly held my breath and turned over to avoid it, but I was still rubbed by the poisonous fog. My arms were numb and almost couldn't hold the dagger. Damn, this poison is so awesome. I gritted my teeth and said, and my heart became even more awesome. Although this fog poisonous spider is strong, it is not impossible to deal with it. I closed my eyes and communicated with the green-winged wolf with my heart. Brother, aim at its belly. The armor is thin and it should be weak. The green-winged wolf was worried and shouted, and with a whistle, he held a striking attack on the poisonous spider and bit it hard on the abdomen of the poisonous spider. The guy was in pain and screamed and shook his legs. The green wolf was swung out and hit the stone beside him, and his wound broke again. Kairue, cover it. I shouted, and took advantage of the fog poisonous spider's attention to the green-winged wolf, and turned over and jumped on its back, and stabbed the crack in its abdomen hard. The green blood sprayed all over me, and it smelled so badly, but with this knife, the fog spider obviously atrophied and slowed down. Come again. I gritted my teeth and repaired 2 more times. Finally, the guy made a slight scream, his legs were soft, and he fell to the ground and stopped moving. I jumped off its back, panting with fatigue, the numbness on my arms was still not regained, and my legs were a little soft. Bog, Beilei, you are so fierce. Kairue ran over and admired her. This is a 3rd-level spirit beast, so how did you do it? Don't let it go, we have to explain this if we don't turn it over. I rolled my eyes and turned to look at the blue-winged wolf. It hurts harder, but its eyes are still very energetic. I walked over and touched its brain, and felt moved in my heart. Brother, thank you for your hard work. I'll find you some good medicine later. The moment of killing the fog poisonous spider, the pleasure is directly full of. This is the first time I have killed a higher spirit than myself. Although it depends on cooperation and luck, this battle has made my confidence turbulent. The fragments of the Earth Immortal realm are indeed not simple. The spirit beast is so strong, and there may be even more powerful later. But the more dangerous it is, the more I am, and these challenges are my stronger petals. Beilei, this poisonous spider's poisonous sac is a good thing. It can sell a lot of spirit stones. Let's dig it before leaving. Kairue had sharp eyes and had already begun to study the corpse. Okay, hurry up, don't waste time. I clicked the head, helped him dig out the poison bag together, and took a little armor on the body of the fog poison spider. This thing can be used as an armor, and it is worth a little money. After packing up, we continued to walk along the path that Kairue cracked. The fog became more and more intense, but the spirit became stronger. I could even feel that I was practicing a little relaxed. After about half a minute of leaving, a clearing area suddenly appeared in front of him, and the mist scattered here, revealing a broken stone door. There are some ancient patterns carved on the stone door, which are filled with breath of scattered stone tablets next to them, with some incomprehensible words engraved on them. This should be the entrance to the fragments of the Earth Immortal realm. Kairue said excitedly, squatting down to study the runes on the stone door. There is a restriction here, but it is already very weak. I can crack it and give me some time. Hurry, I can't wait. My heart beat faster and my eyes stared at the stone gate. Behind it is the fragmented world, the resources of spirit stones, and the ancient caves. Maybe they are all waiting for me. At this moment, I felt that I was only one step away from the engine. Kairue worked hard for a long time and finally opened the ban on the stone door. With a low voice, the stone door opened slowly, revealing a dim passage inside. The air was so full that it could almost bring out water. I took a deep breath and felt so comfortable. Go in. I walked into the passage with the green-winged wolf and Kairue. It was dark inside and could only be illuminated by the fire symbols that were lit by Kairue. The 2 sides of the passage are covered with broken stone walls, with some blurry wall paintings engraved on them, as if recording the history of the ancient fairy world. I glanced at it for a while, but didn't care too much, and my mind was all in the way. Not long after I walked, the passage suddenly opened and a huge underground space appeared in front of me. In the middle of the space, there is a half-collapsed sacrificial fort floating on it. A piece of crystal as big as a fist floats, radiating soft light, and the surrounding spirit is so full that it makes people feel excited. My eyes lit up. This thing is a good thing at first glance. It is probably the essence of spirit stone. After absorption, it can directly improve the cultivation level. The trough, it's money. Kairue was also very excited, his eyes shining. Don't worry, let's see if there is any danger first. Although I was worried, I still suppressed my impulse and let the green wolf explore the way first. It rolled around the fort, growled and heard a low voice, and said in his heart, there is no danger, but there is a strange force around this crystal, and when it gets close, it will be stressed. What's the pressure? I'll say it after taking it. I gritted my teeth and walked straight towards the sacrificial supreme. Sure enough, as soon as I got closer, I felt an invisible pressure coming towards me, as if there was a small hill pressing on my shoulder. I bit my teeth tightly, carried it forward step by step, and finally came to the fortress, stretched out my hand and grabbed the crystal stone. Just as I touched the crystal, a warm spiritual force instantly rushed into my body. It seemed like there was a warm current flowing in the veins. I practiced directly from the 3rd level of the imperial pupil to the 4th level. My whole body was shocked and I felt full of strength, and even the numbness on my arms disappeared. It's great. I couldn't help but growl. It felt so simple and amazing. This is the second pleasure, the pleasure of force and violence will directly make me stand up. My bud finally took another big step forward. Beilei, what are you doing? Isn't it okay? Kairue asked tightly behind. It's okay, it's great. I turned his head and grinned and stuffed the crystal into it. This place is indeed a local place. Let's look for it again, maybe there's something good. Kairue clicked the head and began to search around. The green wolf was guarding me, and she growled from time to time to remind me to be careful. In addition to the fortress, there are also several forks in this underground space leading to a deeper place. As soon as I felt that the cave with map marks should be deep in this fragment, and I had to continue to explore it. However, just when I was about to choose a road, a sound of footsteps suddenly came from a distance, and then a cold sound came out. Hee hee, little girl, you run very fast, I didn't expect you to find this place. My heart sank. When I turned around, I saw that Tang Long walked out of another passage with a few younger brothers. He sneered on his face, holding a long sword with strong power waves in his hand, his eyes locked at me. Tang Long, why are you not dissipating? I gritted my teeth and held the short dagger. The green wolf also roared and slapped into a fighting posture. I'm not dissipating. Ha, the machine here should be mine. You're just helping me explore the way. Tang Long sneered and slowly approached. Take the things you just took and give me the map, otherwise, I won't be so good this time. I felt so angry that this guy was so unlucky that he was so embarrassed. However, he is more powerful than me. If he really fights, it will probably be another tough battle. My brain flew quickly, and I didn't show any weakness. Want to slap? Come and try it, see who is unlucky this time. Tang Long grinned and waved his hand. Several little brothers stood and scattered, pulling out the surrounding frame. Kairue and I looked at each other and understood in our hearts that we would not be able to avoid this scene. The green wolf growled, and although the wound was not good, it still fought desperately. I took a deep breath, held the short dagger, and prepared to face this tough battle. I will never give in to others the debris of the earthly world. Tang Long, if you dare to come and snatch it, I will let you know that my beetle is not easy to mess with. I stood in the underground space of the fragments of the earthly fairy world, my heart beating like a drum beat. The dagger in my hand was tightly held, and my sweat was almost sucking my palm. Tang Long in front of him was holding the sneer of a beating on his face, staring at me like a poisonous snake, and the long knife in his hand flashed with cold light, and the power waves made people's calves soft. Several younger brothers around him scattered, and surrounded me, Kairue and the Green Wolf, strictly and truly, and Yingming did not intend to leave us a way out. Beilei, what should I do? This guy is not easy to mess with, let's run away. Kairue muttered in my ears, his voice trembling, his face as white as paper. Running, fart. I gritted my teeth and glared at him. What should I do if I run away from this crystal? There is also a map. What can I do if I hand it over? If I don't have sex today, I can't swallow this breath. That's what I said, but I have no idea. Tang Long, a fellow practitioner, was at least in the middle of the training period, and was several times higher than me. He just absorbed crystals and allowed me to break through to the 4th level of the Imperial Pupil, but the gap with him was still far behind him. Fight hard, the victory is not big. Tang Long saw me without saying a word, sneered, and said, "Little girl, don't be stubborn. If you hand over the crystal stones and maps, I can still save you your life. Otherwise, this place is your burial place." Buried you. I couldn't help but spat, and said nothing. I want to snatch something, come and try it. Let's see who will lie down first. As I said, I quickly communicated with the Green Wind Wolf, "Brother, let's cooperate. You can control the 2 little brothers on the right. I'll find a chance to steal Tang Long." The Green Wind Wolf roared. Although the wound on his body was not good, there was a ruthless look in his eyes, and his heart was filled with his voice. "Okay, give it to me, I will help you even if I fight this life." My heart warmed up, and this little brother really wanted. "Kairue, hold on to the few on the left and don't let them encircle them." Looking for death. Tang Long saw that we were not convinced, his face darkened, and a long knife in his hand shook, and a knife slammed my face. My heart was tightened, and I quickly flicked my body, and the knife wiped my shoulder and flew over. A stone behind it was split into 2.5, and the mouth was flat like a lens. I was shaking my back, and if I got hit, I would have no life. "Go!" I shouted, and the Green Wolf levered to the 2 little brothers on the right, and withdrew their claws, forcing them to retreat. I took advantage of the trouble and rushed towards Tang Long, stabbing his waist with a short dagger in my hand, trying my best to give him a ruthless person. Tang Long snorted coldly, twisted his body, easily avoiding my attack, and slashed it with a backhand. I quickly rolled around on the spot, avoiding it, but my arm was still scratched by the wind of the knife, which made me suck my breath. "With this ability, how dare you challenge me?" Tang Long sneered. His sword technique was getting faster and faster, and his moves were hitting me. I gritted my teeth and squeezed my brain, and it was impossible to fight hard. I had to find a way to break the deadlock. On the other side, Kairue used the talisman to hold the few little brothers on the left, but he couldn't hold it anymore. He had been hit by a few strokes and shouted panting, "Beilei, hurry up, I can't do it anymore." The Green Wind Wolf was not happy either. Although he bit a little brother, he also hit a few feet, his wounds broke and his blood flowed more. I felt anxious, my eyes were stumbled around, wondering if there was anything I could use. Suddenly, I saw a few broken stone pillars next to the sacrificial fortress, with some loose gravel hanging on the top of the pillars, as if they could fall off at any time. My brain lit up and there is. "Blue Wind Wolf, lead to the stone pillar." I shouted in my heart and shouted loudly at Kairue, "Stop and take them to the right." Although Kairue didn't know what I mean, he still gritted his teeth and did it, threw out a burst talisman, and forced several younger brothers to the direction of the stone pillar. Tang Long saw me full of trouble, as if he had seen through my plan, and sneered, and caught up with him, "Little girl, do you want to turn the plate with a small skill in carving? Make a dream." He was so fast that he approached me in a few steps. With a long knife in his hand, another sword slashed over. I gritted my teeth and hit a stone, which made my brain sweat, but I still looked panicked and ran towards the stone pillar. "I can't escape." Tang Long roared, accelerated and finally entered the area of the stone pillar. I was delighted, it was now. I turned around suddenly and threw the dagger out in my hand, not at Tang Long, but at the pile of loose gravel on the top of the stone pillar. The dagger hit the gravel, and a crisp sound came out, and then a pile of stones rumbled down, just hitting the top of Tang Long's head. Trouble. Tang Long didn't expect this move, so he quickly slapped the knife frame, but he was still hit by several large stones on the shoulder. He grinned and slowed down his movements. I took the opportunity to lift up the dagger on the ground and stabbed him in the leg. I used the breastfeeding thief in this knife. Although it did not pierce, I still made a deep hole and the blood came out. Ah! Tang Long roared in pain, and finally a panic flashed in his eyes. I felt a little happy in my heart. This is the first pleasure. If this guy can get the numbers, my operation is worth it. Brothers, retreat. Tang Long saw that he was not right, covered the wound on his legs, gritted his teeth and shouted, and walked back to the passage with several little brothers. Before leaving, he glared at me fiercely. Little girl, I have recorded this note, let's take a look. Let's just go and see, who are you afraid? I shouted as I pressed his back. Although my mouth was harsh, my legs were actually a little soft. Just then, it was pure and life-threatening. If there was a slight mistake, I would have to be smashed into a meaty bun by the stone. Beilei, you are so good, you almost scared me to death. Kairue ran over, impressed with his face, but his hands were still shaking. He also had a lot of color on his body, his clothes were torn a few holes, and he looked quite decent. Stop talking, just be fine if you don't die. I rolled my eyes and turned to look at the green-winged wolf. It was getting heavier, and it was lying on the ground, panting heavily, and its blood almost dyed the hair. My heart felt sad and walked over to touch its brain. Brother, thank you for your hard work. I'll find you good medicine later to ensure you will be lively. The green wolf growled and his heart said, it's okay, as long as you are well, these injuries are nothing. I felt even more uncomfortable when I heard it. This little guy is too loyal and must be good to it. After resting, Kairue and I briefly covered the wound and started discussing the next step. Although Tang Long retreated, this guy was a little sensible and probably wouldn't be good at silence and might even ask someone to come back and kill things. We have to seize the time, find the cave marked on the map, get the machine, and then make another wave of strength before we can get along with Tang Long. Beilei, there are several forks in this underground space. Although there are marks on the map, I don't know very well. What should I do? I looked down and saw a vague route on the map, pointing to a deepest fork, but I still have to guess how to walk. I gritted my teeth, pointed to the middle road and said, just this one, the most energetic spirit leads to the cave. Take a look. Kairue is a little bit head-on, although it is a little hesitant, but it still has no objection. The three of us packed up our things, supported each other, and walked slowly into the fork. The passage was dark and filled with energy. There were some ancient runes engraved on the stone walls on both sides, revealing a sense of indescribable distortion. The green wolf walked in front, smelling his nose constantly, helping us explore the way. After about half a minute of walking, a huge stone door finally appeared in the passage, with a huge pattern carved on it, lifelike, as if it was alive. A faint light shines in the door, and the spirit in the air is so heavy that it can almost blow out the water. My heart beat faster. This place is probably the ancient cave marked on the map. Here. I clapped my hands excitedly, turned to Kairue and said, look, see if there is a ban on this door and whether it can be opened. Kairue squatted down and carefully studied the runes on the door. After passing, he said with a sweat, there is a ban, but it is not strong, I can break it. However, behind the door. I feel a strong breath, and I may be in danger. What are you afraid of danger? Let's talk about it. I shook my hand and felt so sad. Now that we are here, how can we care about the danger? The big machine is right in front of you, it's useless to take it. Kairue worked hard for a while and finally opened the ban. With a low voice, the stone door opened slowly, revealing a huge cave space inside. In the middle of the cave, there is a floating stone platform. On the stone platform is a yellow ancient book, and there is a faint light surrounding the book, which looks like it is nothing. Next to the stone platform, there are still several spiritual stones scattered with strong spirits, and even a piece of them is worth the money. The trough, it's money. Kairue's eyes were straightened and his saliva was almost flowing down. Don't worry, let's see if there are any traps. Although I was so excited, I still suppressed my impulse and let the green wolf explore the way first. It rolled around the stone platform, growled and heard a low voice, and said in his heart, "There is no danger, but that book has a strange force, and when it gets close, it will be stressful." What's the pressure? I'll say it after I take it. I gritted my teeth and walked straight towards the stone platform. Sure enough, as soon as I got closer, I felt an invisible pressure coming from the surface, as if there was a mountain pressing on my shoulder, which was stronger than when I just took the crystal. I bit my teeth tightly, carried it forward step by step, and finally came to the stone platform, stretched out my hand and grabbed the ancient book. Just as I met the ancient book, a vast stream of information suddenly surged into my brain, as if someone was stuffing something directly into my brain. My eyes went dark and I almost stood firm, but I quickly calmed down and began to digest these information. It turns out that this book is a secret book left by an ancient imperial enchantment master. It records high-level imperial enchantment techniques and several powerful spiritual enchantment gates. I was ecstatic that this thing was tailor-made for me. After learning these, I could actually double my strength. Not only that, there is a pure power hidden in the ancient books. As I absorbed it, my cultivation began to relax again, and I could not see the sign of breaking through to the 5th level of the imperial pupil. My whole body was shocked and I felt full of strength, and my previous wounds didn't hurt so much. It's great. I couldn't help but growl. It felt so simple and amazing. This is the second pleasure point, and I will get the pleasure of inheritance and let me get to the top. I, Beilei, finally got something to change my fate, and got one step closer to the top sharp master. Beilei, what are you doing? Isn't it okay? Kairue asked tightly behind. It's okay, it's great. I turned around and grinned, stuffed the ancient books into it, and then began to pack up the spirit stones on the stone platform. We'll divide these spirit stones. If you take them back, you can change a lot of good things. Kairue clicked the head and began to help the rocks. The green wolf was guarding me, and she growled from time to time, as if she was happy for me. The three of us worked hard for a while, and finally cleaned up the spirit stones, and the feeling of being filled with joy made me feel happy. However, just as I was about to leave the cave, a sound of footsteps came from afar, and then a familiar cold voice sounded, "Hee hee, little girl, you run very fast, I didn't expect you to find the cave." My heart sank. When I turned around, I saw that Tang Long walked out of the entrance of the passage with a few younger brothers. This time he had more people, 7 or 8, and it seemed that he had asked for help. He sneered on his face, held the long knife in his hand, and his eyes were locked at me. Although the wound on his legs had been covered, he was still a little unsightly when walking. "Tang Long, your soul is really not dissipated." I gritted my teeth and held the short dagger. The green wolf also roared and slapped into a fighting posture. "I'm not dissipating. Ha, the machine here should be mine. You're just helping me explore the way." Tang Long sneered and slowly approached. "Take the things you just took and give me the map, otherwise, I won't be so good this time." I felt so angry that this guy was so unlucky that he was so embarrassed. However, there are many others, and if they really fight, it will probably be another tough battle. But I just got the inheritance, and I was violent and I was feeling bad. How could I be afraid of him? Want to slap? Come and try it, see who is unlucky this time. I gritted my teeth and stood up, pressed my hand on the back of the green wolf, ready to fight to the death at any time. Kairue also tightly held the talisman tightly. Although his face was a little white, he still stood beside me and did not retreat. Tang Long grinned and waved his hand. Several little brothers stood and scattered, pulling out the surrounding frame. I took a deep breath, my brain flew quickly and prepared to welcome this tough battle. I will never give in to others the debris of the earthly world. Tang Long, if you dare to come and snatch it, I will let you know that my beetle is not easy to mess with. I stood beside the stone platform of the cave, holding the ancient imperial treasure that I just got, and I was still immersed in the feeling of violence in my heart. The spirit stone has been almost finished by Kairue and I, a pack, heavy, as if it is packed with hope for the future. The green wolf was guarding me. Although the wound was not good, there was a sense of loyalty in his eyes, and he was roaring and ready to fight for me at any time. But the pleasant atmosphere did not last for a few seconds, and the sound of the footsteps from the far channel made my heart tight. The guy Tang Long is here again. He was carrying 7 or 8 little brothers, and the sneer that was worthy of beating was hanging on his face. The long knife in his hand flashed with a cold light. Although the wound on his legs was covered, he was still a little stumbled when walking. But the greed in his eyes was even more intense than before. He stared at me straight, as if he had already regarded the things in the cave as his belongings. Tang Long, you are so soulless. I gritted my teeth and cut, holding the short dagger, and my anger rushed straight to my brain. Why is this guy like dog skin cream and can't even get rid of it? I'm not dissipating. Ha, little girl, the machine here should be mine. You're just helping me find a way. Tang Long sneered and approached slowly, making people goosebumps in his voice. Take the things you just took and give me the map, otherwise, I won't be so good this time. My heart is so angry that how can this person be so unlucky? I also said that I was so proud of myself. But looking at the 7 or 8 little brothers beside him, I wondered in my heart. I just absorbed the power of the secret book. Although I had a breakthrough, I was still not stable. If I fought hard, I guess I would still be able to do it. The green sty wolf was severely injured, and Kairue also turned on the lottery. The 3 of us combined, and the victory was not big. Beilei, why don't we run away? Kairue muttered in my ears, his face as white as paper, and he was shaking with several talismans in his hand. Running, fart. I gritted my teeth and glared at him. What should I do if I run away with these machines? There are secrets and maps. What can I do if I hand them over? If I don't have sex today, I can't swallow this. That's what I said, but my brain flew quickly, thinking about how to break the deadlock. Tang Long saw me without saying a word, grinned, waved his hand, and several younger brothers scattered, surrounding us strictly. He said coldly, "Don't be too rude, little girl, I'll give you 3 seconds, will you give me?" 3, 2. Thank you. I spit directly, not saying anything. Want to snatch it? Come and try it, see who will lie down first. As I said, I quickly communicated with the green-winged wolf. Brother, let's cooperate. You can control the few on the left. I'll find a chance to steal Tang Long. The green wolf roared lowly. Although the wound was still bleeding, there was a sense of ruthlessness in his heart. Okay, I'll give it to me, and I'll help you if I fight. My heart warmed up, and this little brother really wanted. Kairue, hand it to you on the right side and hold them with the talisman. I gave a low voice, and Kairue gritted his teeth and took out a bunch of talismans from his bag, ready to go. 1. Tang Long's face darkened after finishing his death, and a long knife in his hand swept, and a knife thrust straight into my face. My heart was tightened, and I quickly flicked my body, and the knife wiped my shoulder and flew over. A stone behind it was split into 2.5, and the mouth was flat like a lens. I was shaking my back, and if I got hit, I would have no life. Go! I shouted, and the green wolf lean horse rushed to the left, slammed his claws, forcing the 2 guys to retreat. I took advantage of the trouble and rushed towards Tang Long, stabbing his waist with a short dagger in my hand, trying my best to give him a ruthless person. Tang Long snorted coldly, twisted his body, and easily dodged it. He slashed it with his backhand. I quickly rolled around on the spot, avoiding it, but my arm was still scratched by the sword wind, which made me suck my breath. With this ability, how dare you challenge me? Tang Long sneered. His sword technique was getting faster and faster, and his moves were hitting me. I gritted my teeth and squeezed my brain, and it was impossible to fight hard. I had to find a way to break the deadlock. On the other side, Kairue used the talisman to hold the few little brothers on the right, but he couldn't hold it anymore. He was hit by a few more times and shouted panting, "Beilei, hurry up, I can't do it anymore." The green-winged wolf was not happy either. Although he bit a little brother, he also got hit a few feet, his wounds collapsed, his blood flowed more, and his movements slowed down. I was so anxious that my eyes were shaking around, thinking about if there was anything I could use. Although the cave is large, the terrain is simple and there is nothing to cover up. Suddenly, I glanced at a narrow crack behind the stone platform, like a passage to another place, with a little spiritual energy. My brain lit up and there is. Blue-winged wolf, lead to the crack. I shouted in my heart, and shouted loudly at Kairue, stop and take them back. Although Kairue didn't know what I mean, he still gritted his teeth and did it, threw out a burst talisman, and forced several younger brothers to the back of the stone platform. Tang Long saw me full of trouble, as if he had seen through my plan, and sneered, and caught up with him, "Little girl, do you want to turn the plate with a small skill in carving? Make a dream." He was so fast that he approached me in a few steps. With a long knife in his hand, another sword slashed over. I gritted my teeth and hit a stone, which made my brain sweat, but I still looked panicked and ran towards the crack. "I can't escape!" Tang Long shouted, and rushed over quickly, and several younger brothers also followed him. I was delighted, it was now. I turned around suddenly and threw the dagger out in my hand, not slamming Tang Long, but slamming a loose stone wall on the edge of the crack. The dagger hit the stone wall, and a crisp sound came out, and then a pile of gravel rumbled down, just in time to hit the crack entrance, separating Tang Long and his younger brothers outside. Trouble! Tang Long didn't expect this move, so he quickly slapped the knife frame, but he was still hit by several stones, making his face green. I took the opportunity to pull Kairue and the green-winged wolf into the crack, and ran into the crack without looking back. Tang Long roared from behind, "Little girl, don't run away. I'll kill you." "Kill me? Come and try." I shouted from behind, feeling secretly happy. Although this wave of operation was incredible, it forced Tang Long to separate and gave us time. This is the first pleasure point. I feel so comfortable that I can make this guy eat. The crack was dark and still very heavy, but the terrain was narrow, so it could only allow 2 people to walk on their shoulders. I let the green wolf explore the way in front, Kairue followed me, and the wolf stumbled forward. After running for about a stick of incense, Tang Long's voice finally became smaller, and he probably didn't catch up. Only then did I relax and lean against the stone wall and gasp. "Beilei, you are so good, you almost scared me to death." Kairue was so tired that he sat on the ground and hummed, his clothes as torn as beggars. "Stop talking, just be fine if you don't die." I rolled my eyes and turned to look at the green-winged wolf. It got even heavier, and it was lying on the ground, panting heavily, and its blood almost dyed the hair. My heart felt sad and walked over to touch its brain. "Brother, thank you for your hard work. I'll find you good medicine later to ensure you will be lively." The green wolf growled and his heart said, "It's okay, as long as you are well, these injuries are nothing." I felt even more uncomfortable when I heard it. This little guy is too loyal and must be good to it. After resting, Kairue and I briefly covered the wound and began to look at the crack. The crack was hidden from the depths of the crack, and its spirit was more dense than outside, as if it was hiding something good. I felt a little moved. This place might be another secret space in the cave, and maybe I could have some trouble. "Kairue, let's go in and take a look, maybe there is something to do." I patted his shoulder and said excitedly. "Go away. Are you tired? My legs are almost broken." Kairue looked reluctant, but when he saw my eyes calm, he still stood up helplessly. "Okay, I'm unlucky. Who would let me be so crazy with you?" The 3 of us slowly walked deeper into the crack. The terrain became narrower and narrower, and the air was so full that it could almost bring out water. After about half a minute of leaving, a small stone chamber suddenly opened up ahead. In the middle of the stone chamber, there is a small stone platform. On the stone platform is a bead with a faint wave of spirit. Around the beads, it looks like it is nothing. Next to the stone platform, there are still a few spiritual plants scattered, emitting a thick aroma of medicine. The trough, it's money again. Kairue's eyes were straightened, and his saliva was almost flowing down. Don't worry, let's see if there is any danger first. Although I was worried, I still suppressed my impulse and let the green wolf explore the way first. It rolled around the stone platform, growled and heard a low voice, saying, "There is no danger, but the bead has a strange force, and it will be stressed when it gets close." What's the pressure? I'll say it after I take it. I gritted my teeth and walked straight towards the stone platform. Sure enough, as soon as I got closer, I felt an invisible pressure coming towards me, as if someone was pushing me back. I bit my teeth tightly, carried it forward step by step, and finally came to the stone platform, stretched out my hand and grabbed the bead. Just as I touched the bead, a stream of ice-like power instantly rushed into my body, as if someone had poured ice water into my veins, so comfortable that I almost screamed. At the same time, a piece of information suddenly appeared in my brain. It turned out that this bead was called the spiritual soul bead, a treasure used by the ancient imperial eunuch to enhance the power of the spirit. As long as the spirit beast is absorbed, it can quickly adapt to damage and even break through. I was ecstatic that this thing was made for the blue-winged wolf. "Brother, this is yours." I turned around and smiled at the green-winged wolf, and sent the soul bead in front of it. The green wolf growled and bit the soul bead with his mouth. The next second, a blue light spread out from it. The wound was compatible with the speed visible to the naked eye, and his breath became stronger. After a few breaths, it suddenly stood up, roared with a long roar, and its energy directly sprinkled from the second-level spirit beast to the third level. Bored, awesome. Kairue was stunned and admired. "It's great." I couldn't help but growl. It felt so simple and amazing. This is the second pleasure, the pleasure of the powerful and violent wolf, which made me stand on the head. My little brother, Beilei, finally became a real war. Who dares to provoke me and can't bite him to death? After the green wolf broke through, he rubbed my palm and said to me, "Thank you, master, I feel that I have never been so strong." I grinned and patted it on my brain. "Good brother, I will follow my sister in the future and eat delicious food and drink spicy food." After packing up the effect of the soul bead, Kairue and I took the spirit grass next to the stone platform clean. These saccharides are very strong in nature and can be taken back to change a lot of good things, or used for saccharides by themselves. The three of us were filled with joy, and we were ready to return from the original path of the crack. However, it was not long after I walked out of the stone chamber, a deep sound suddenly came from behind, like the silence of the stone collapse. I felt nervous and turned around and saw a scattered scattering in the direction of the crack entrance. I could almost hear Tang Long's roar, "Little girl, don't think it's safe to hide. I've found you." Damn, this guy is really not giving up. I gritted my teeth and said, and my brain flew quickly. The cracked terrain was narrow and he was blocked, so we couldn't even run away. However, the blue-winged wolf is now in full swing, and I feel a little bit full of enthusiasm. "Beilei, what should I do? Do it or run away?" Kairue asked tightly, and he clamped a few more talismans in his hand. "What are you going to run away?" "Do it." I waved my hand and looked fierce. The green-winged wolf is in the 3rd grade. Are we still afraid of him? If you don't beat him this time, I won't call him Beilei. As I said, I took the green-winged wolf and Kairue and met in the direction of the crack entrance. Sure enough, without taking a few steps, I saw Tang Long coming in with a few little brothers. They were covered in dust, and they probably dug up the pile of gravel. They looked gray and dirt-faced, but their eyes still looked greedy. Tang Long saw me and sneered, "Little girl, can't run away, right? I can still hand over something. Take it to you." I directly knocked him off and roared, "Green Foam Wolf, get on." The Green Foam Wolf roared up, as fast as a flash, and headed straight for Tang Long to bite. Tang Long was stunned, obviously not expecting that the Green Wind Wolf would violently. He reacted half a beat slower, and a bloody mouth was bitten out of his shoulder, which made him grin. "Bog, why is this beast so fierce?" Tang Long roared angrily and knocked back with a knife, but the Green Wolf was so flexible that he hid in a few seconds, turned his head and slapped at a younger brother beside him, knocking the person down directly. I took the trouble to rush up, and stabbed Tang Long's other leg with a short dagger in my hand, and gave him another injury. "Ah!" Tang Long roared in pain, and finally a panic flashed in his eyes. I felt a little relieved in my heart, and this guy finally knew he was afraid. The Green Wind Wolf cooperated so hard that he fell down 2 younger brothers in succession. The remaining few were wrong and he was afraid to retreat. Kairue was not idle either, and threw out a few bursting talismans, which made them beat them up in full force. "Tang Long, why? You can't get hurt anymore." I gasped and stood in front of him, with a short dagger dripping with blood in my hand, covering my face. Tang Long covered his wound, his face turned blue, and gritted his teeth and said, "Little girl, wait for me, I will settle for you sooner or later." After saying that, he waved his hand and ran away with the remaining few little brothers. Looking at their wolfish backs, I couldn't help laughing. In this battle, the powerful violence of the Green Wolf and my cooperation forced Tang Long away, and the pleasure was filled with the feeling. "My bud, from today on, who don't want to bully me easily. Beilei, you are so awesome, I'm convinced." Kairue ran over and admired her face. Although she was still radiant, her eyes were full of excitement. "Hee, that's just the beginning." I grinned and patted the Green Wolf's brain, "Let's go back, and there are even bigger machines waiting for me next." The 3 of us packed up and returned along the original path of the crack. Although Tang Long retreated at a short time, I know that this guy will definitely not be able to stop. The secret of the fragments of the Death Immortal realm has not been completely revealed, and there may be more treasures in the cave. A fire ignited in my heart. No matter how many challenges there are, my buds have to step on them one by one to become the true saying. I stood at the exit of the crack, carrying the wound I had just fought with Tang Long, and my sweat mixed with dust on my face, but I felt so happy. The Green Wind Wolf's force has reached the 3rd level, and that battle just hit Tang Long's guy with dust and earthy faces. The wolf escaped. This feeling is simple and amazing. I patted the Kingfinglang's brain and grinned, "Brother, you're doing a pretty job. When I go back, I'll find you some delicious food to replenish your body." The Green Wind Wolf roared and rubbed my palm, and his heart came, "Master, as long as you hang out with you, everything is worth it." My heart warmed up. This little guy is so loyal that he can't find any fault. Kairue was wiping sweat aside, his clothes were torn like beggars, but his eyes were full of excitement. "Beilei, you are so awesome. That guy Tang Long probably has been in silence this time, but we have to get some time, so he will definitely come back to find trouble." "What are you afraid of? Come and hit it once." I shook my hair and said indifferently, "But you are right, we have to dig more good things now and improve our strength. Next time we meet, we will just step on him under our feet." I lowered my head and looked at the ancient imperial secrets and the rocks in my hand, and a fire ignited in my heart. The secret of the fragments of the Death Immortal realm has not been completely revealed. There may be more machines hidden deep in the cave. I must seize the time and get everything I can. The 3 of us calmed down and returned to the previous cave hall from the crack. The traces left by the fight were still there, gravel and blood were scattered on the ground, and the air still had the smell of spiritual waves. Although we searched the cave palace around me, there were still many forks waiting for me. There should be a large machine waiting for me at the deepest point of the mark on the map. "Kairue, what is the deepest road on the map?" I took out the broken stone map and asked with a snarky eyebrows. Karufing studied for a long time and pointed to a passage on the far left of the hall and said, "It should be this one, and the end of the marking on the map is in that direction. However, this road looks quite evil, and it is a bit abnormal in spirit. Maybe there is any danger." "What's dangerous? How do you know if it's worth it if you don't try it?" I grinned and stuffed the map back in. Go in and have a look." As I said, I walked into the passage with the green wind wolf and Kairue. This passage is narrower than before, and the two stone walls are full of ancient runes, emitting an indescribable sense of distortion. The spirit in the air is so heavy that it can almost blow out water. After taking a breath, I feel that my body is stretched out, but at the same time there is also an invisible pressure, which makes people walk in a striking way. The green wolf walked in front, smelling his nose constantly, and she growled and reminded me to be careful. After walking for about an incense stick, a huge blue copper door finally appeared in the passage, with a giant dragon and a phoenix carved on it, which was lifelike, as if you could live any time. A strong light shines in the door, and the spirit level doubles directly. I can even feel that my cultivation has begun to move again, and I can't help but break through to the 5th level of the imperial pupil. The trough. This place is absolutely simple. Kairue's eyes were straightened, his face full of excitement, but his hands were still tightly holding a few talismans. "The runes on this door are high-level bands, I have to take some time to crack them." "Bed, don't touch them first." "Okay, hurry up, I can't wait." I clicked my head, my heart beat faster, and my eyes stared at the blue copper door. The next 80most is the core of the cave, the resources of spirit stones and ancient heritage, and maybe they are all waiting for me. At this moment, I felt that I was only one step away from the engine. Kairue squatted down, sweating profusely, studying the runes on the door, muttering words in his mouth, and constantly comparing something in his hands. I was guarding the green wolf by my side, and I could react in the first time whenever I had any static. After about half a moment, Kairue finally breathed and wiped his sweat, saying, "It's done. The ban has been cracked, but behind this door. I feel a strong breath, and maybe there is a guardian of the spirit or something, so be careful when entering." "Guarding the spirit bamboo? That's not better." I grinned and patted the green wolf's brain. "Brother, we can have more brothers. Let's go in." As I said, I pushed the green copper door, and with a low voice, the door opened quietly, revealing a huge underground palace inside. In the middle of the palace, there is a high stone tower. At the top of the stone tower is a jade scattered with golden light. A circle of spiritual light is surrounded, and it looks like it is not an ordinary thing. Around the stone tower, there are also a pile of spirit stones scattered, which is so numerous that it makes people dazzled, and even a piece of them can be sold at a price. On the walls around the palace, there are wall paintings carved, as if recording the history of the ancient fairy world, and implicitly exuding the breath of the sacred mulberry. However, what attracted my attention the most was a huge spiritual beast sitting in front of the stone tower. It was a giant golden python with a body that was as thick as a bucket, with a cold light, half-closed eyes, radiating a terrifying force. When the green wolf saw it, Lima growled, his body tightened, and his heart sounded, "Master, this guy is very strong, at least 5 levels, I can't beat him." 5 level? My heart sank. The 5-level spirit beast is not something you can play with. It is 2 times higher than the blue wolf. If you really fight, I guess the 3 of us will not have the teeth plugged in. However, I was not much afraid in my heart, but I was excited. Being able to fight this level of spirit beast is a challenge in itself, and I have golden fingers, and I can hear the heart sound of spirit beasts, and I may be able to try communication. "Kairue, you should hide away first and don't be affected." I lowered my voice, then closed my eyes, and tried to contact the golden giant python with my heart. "Hey, brother, I'm not mad, I just want to get something on the way. Can we talk about it?" The golden giant python's eyes were slightly open, and a strange thing flashed through his pupils, and a deep voice spread into my brain. "Little girl, can you understand me? Interesting. But this place is my floor, and you can't take it at will. If you want to take it, you can, but I'll say it after passing me. I felt happy that this guy was able to communicate, and it didn't seem to be completely unreasonable. I grinned and said, okay, big brother, let's fight. If you win, I will beat you up. If I win, what will happen if I win? The golden giant python growled, as if it was amused by my words, and his heart was filled with voice. What a pity. I will play with you, little girl, but don't blame me for not reminding you. I won't show mercy. After speaking, its huge body moved, and its tail swept directly towards me, as fast as a flash, bringing a crazy look. Trough. I quickly rolled on the ground, hiding away, and my tail hit the ground, smashing a big hole, and gravel flew. My back was swelling, and if I hit this force, I would have lost my life. The green wolf saw the scene and roared up, trying to make a giant python, but when it bit it, it was swung its tail and flew, hitting the wall, and growling in pain. Brother, don't come forward, run around it and find opportunities. I shouted in my heart, and at the same time I picked up the dagger and began to circle the golden giant python to find its weakness. Kairue was not idle either. He threw out a few bursting talismans from a distance. Although it did not harm the giant python, it at least distracted a little. The golden giant python snorted coldly, spit out a golden fog in its mouth, thrusting straight into my face. I quickly held my breath and turned over to hide, but I was still rubbed by the smoke. My arms were numb and almost couldn't even hold the dagger. Damn, this poison is so awesome. I gritted my teeth and said, but my heart became even more awesome. Although this giant python is strong, it is not impossible to deal with it. I have to pay it. Brother, look at its eyes. That place should be a weakness. I shouted at the blue-sky wolf in my heart, and at the same time, a short dagger rushed to the side of the giant python, and stabbed it hard at its lower abdomen. The giant python was in pain, and roared, and its tail swept again. I didn't hide, but was thrust hard in the waist. The pain made my eyes dark and I almost vomited blood. Beilei, be careful. Kairue shouted, threw out another talisman, helping me fight for some time. I gritted my teeth and got up, feeling my ribs almost slamming, but I still stood up straight. The green wolf took advantage of the opportunity to snatch it up and grabbed the giant python's left eye with one claw. Although it was not blind, it still caused it to collapse in pain and slowed down. Just now. I gritted my teeth and thrust my dagger into the wound that had just been just now, twisting it hard, and the green blood sprayed all over my body, which was so smelly. The giant python let out a slight roar, its body shook violently, and finally fell to the ground, and its breath became weaker. Who? I leaned against the stone beside me, gasping for breath, sweating all over my body, and my wounds were so painful, but I felt so happy in my heart. Killing the 5th level spirit beast, this sense of accomplishment is directly full of. This is the first pleasure point. I, Beilei, forced an opponent who was several files higher than myself. However, I was not in a hurry to be excited, so I closed my eyes and tried to communicate with the giant python. Hey, brother, why are you? Are you convinced? If you accept it, just mess with me. If you are convinced, you will be better off in the future. The golden giant python gasped heavily and his heart was filled with voice. Little girl, you really have a. Okay, I'm convinced. From now on, I'll be with you. I was happy in my heart, and I didn't expect that I could really conquer this guy. The 5th level spirit beast is my younger brother, and this force will fly directly. Hee, brother, welcome to join. I grinned and took out a little spiritual grass to help it hurt. The green wolf also came over and growled, as if he had recognized this new partner. Kairue ran over and admired her face. Beilei, you are really not a human being. You can even conquer the 5th level spirit beast. I am convinced. I rolled my eyes and said unhappily, stop talking, help me take down the jade on the stone tower. That thing is probably a good thing. The 3 of us plus the newly conquered golden python came under the stone tower. The giant python rolled it lightly with its tail, then took the jade pendant and sent it to my hand. As soon as I touched the jade, a vast stream of information stormed into the brain. It turned out that this was the complete inheritance of a top-notch beast master in the Earth Immortal world. Not only did it have high-level beast art, but it also recorded the coming of the cave. This place was a place where a powerful man left behind when the immortal world collapsed that year, and was designed to find a representative. And I, through the level of examination, officially became the powerful inheritor. Not only that, there is a pure power hidden in the jade simplicity. As I absorbed it, I cultivated myself directly from the 4th level of the imperial beasts to the 5th level, and even touched the edge of the 6th level. My whole body was shocked and I felt full of strength and my wounds didn't hurt so much. It's great. I couldn't help but growl. It felt so simple and amazing. This is the second pleasure point, and the complete inheritance and the pleasure of real violence will directly make me stand out. My beetle finally stood at a new starting point in the Earth Immortal realm, and was only one step away from the top of the Beast Master. Beilei, what are you doing? Is it okay? Kai Rui asked tightly. It's okay, it's great. I turned around and grinned, and then began to clean up the spirit stones around the stone tower. We'll divide these spirit stones. We can get them back and exchange a lot of good things. Let's use them for several years. Kairue pointed the head and began to help pick up the spirit stones. The green wolf and the golden python were guarding me, like 2 loyal guardians. Just as we were busy working hard, a sound of footsteps suddenly came from afar, and then a familiar cold voice sounded, "Hee hee, little girl, run very fast, I didn't expect you to really get the core machine of the cave." My heart sank. When I turned around, I saw that Tang Long and the guy came in with more than a dozen people. This time he has more people, and it doesn't seem easy to mess with. I guess he asked a nearby cultivator to help. He sneered on his face, held the long knife in his hand, and his eyes were locked at me, as if he had already regarded the things in the palace as his bag. Tang Long, you really don't give up. I gritted my teeth and stood up, pressing my hand on the dagger, and the green wind wolf and the golden giant python also roared and slapped into a fighting posture. Give up. Ha, little girl, the machine here should be mine. You just helped me explore the way. Tang Long sneered and slowly approached. Take the things you just took and give me the map, otherwise, you don't want to leave either of you today. My heart is so angry that how can this guy be so unlucky? However, looking at the more than 10 people beside him, I wondered. Although I just broke through and conquered the golden python, there were many people on the other side, and it still took a lot of effort to fight. Beilei, what should I do? There are too many people, it's not a good deal to do it, right? Kairui muttered in my ears, his face slightly white. Why is it not cost-effective to do it? I gritted my teeth and glared at him. I have a golden giant python, I'm afraid of being bullied. If I don't beat him up today, I won't call him Beilei. As I said, I communicated with the Kingfenglang and the golden giant python in my heart. Brothers, we're ready, let's work together to fuck them. Thank you. I spat at Tang Long and shouted, go. The golden giant python took the lead and swung its huge body, forcing several casual cultivators in the front row to fly. Afterwards, the green wolf rushed towards the other side, and grabbed 2 of them with a slap. I picked up the dagger and rushed Tang Long straight, preparing to give him a ruthless person. Tang Long snorted coldly, and a long knife in his hand slammed straight towards him. I flashed my side, and the knife swept over my shoulder, and a stone behind it was split into 2.5. I felt nervous. This guy is still very strong and can't be careless. The giant golden python saw the statue, and swung its tail and directly grabbed Tang Long's knife, forcing him to retreat a few steps. Bored, what's this? Tang Long was stunned. He obviously didn't expect that I had 5-level spirit beasts, and my face finally changed. I took the opportunity to snatch it up and stabbed him in the chest. Although he was hiding, a blood mark still appeared, which made him grin. Brothers, cooperate well, don't let them come up. I shouted, and the blue-winged wolf and the golden giant python cooperated so hard that they beat more than 10 casual cultivators to pieces. Kairue was not idle either, and threw out a bunch of bursting talismans, which made them slam and scream. Tang Long, why? You can't get hurt anymore. I gasped and stood in front of him, with a short dagger dripping with blood in my hand, covering my face. Tang Long covered his wound, his face turned blue, and gritted his teeth and said, "Little girl, wait for me, I will settle for you sooner or later." After saying that, he waved his hand and ran away with the remaining few casual cultivators, and didn't dare to go back. Looking at their wolfish backs, I couldn't help laughing. In this battle, thanks to the cooperation of the golden giant python and the green-winged wolf, and the strength of my new breakthrough, Tang Long, the helping person was so good that he could not help him. The pleasure was directly filled with. This is the last great pleasure point, my beloved, from today on, who shouldn't want to bully me easily. Beilei, you are so awesome, I'm convinced. Kairue ran over and admired her face. Although she was still radiant, her eyes were full of excitement. Hee, that's just the beginning. I grinned and patted the brains of the green wolf and the giant golden python. Brothers, thank you for your hard work. Let's pack up our things and prepare to go back. The three of us plus 2 spirit beasts plundered the stones in the palace and the treasures that we could take, and walked out of the cave with a full load. After returning to the village, I used the spirit stone to exchange a large number of resources, and my cultivation was improved in a stable manner. I quickly broke through to the 6th level of the Imperial Pupil, and even began to contact the higher level of the practice gate. With my cultivation, the blue-winged wolf and the golden python have become stronger and stronger, becoming my most capable assistant. Kairue relied on this adventure to study her methods carefully and became a well-known method. As for Tang Long, he heard that he was scared by me, so he took his subordinates away from his country and never dared to come back to find trouble again. And I, through this time, used the mechanism of slaying fragments of the Earth Immortal realm, gradually grew into a top-sharp beast master, and my reputation spread throughout the Earth Immortal realm. I finally found the traces of the family's missing inheritance. Although it was another adventure story, at least, I was no longer the wild girl running around, but the real story. I stood in the back mountain of the village, looking at the endless mountains and rivers far away in the earthly world, and my heart was filled with ambition. The road ahead is still long, but I know that as long as there are Blue Wolf, Golden Python and Kairue, no matter how big the challenge, my buds can step on them and become the most dazzling star in the fairy world.